Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yes, welcome back.
This time we're going to be looking at an article from the Daily Caller News Foundation about...
Oh, the Daily Caller.
Yes, and specifically, Victor Davis Hanson's perspective on this upcoming election.
Okay.
So Hanson really dives into some interesting things right off the bat. He talks about Democrats being kind of depressed and angry.
Mm-hmm.
And he contrasts that with Harris's initial message of joy and hope, from when she first started campaigning.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Does that ring true at all?
Well, it's funny because elections are supposed to be about policies and platforms.
Right.
But Hanson's suggesting there's this whole psychological thing going on underneath.
So it's not just about who's ahead, but like the overall mood of the country, you think?
I think so, yeah. And he uses the allocation of resources as evidence. Like there's been this shift from North Carolina to Virginia.
Wait, why would that matter?
Well, it's like a general moving troops around. Campaigns have limited resources and they need to use them strategically.
Yep.
So that shift suggests that Harris might be worried about losing North Carolina.
Okay, so like shoring up defenses in one place while still trying to advance in another.
Exactly. And it gets even more interesting when you look at the targeted polling data.
Okay.
They're breaking it down by Latinos, Blacks, Asians.
What's the deal with those targeted polls? I always see those.
Well, remember, elections are also, those polls give campaigns a much more detailed look at how different communities are feeling.
Oh, so it's like zooming in on the electoral map instead of looking at the whole country.
Right. And when you connect, emotions can be contagious, but polls are just snapshots.
True.
Things can change really fast, especially in those last few days before an election.
Okay, that makes sense. The article also mentioned there were some swings in the polls recently, just to remind everybody. Trump was ahead in all 7 key swing states.
So swing states, yeah.
At one point.
That's a term we hear a lot, but, they're called swing states because their voters tend to swing back and forth.
Gotcha.
Between supporting Democrats and Republicans so they can really make or break an election.
Yeah.
Right. And it is tight. Harris did gain some ground in Michigan and Wisconsin.
But nationally, it's still incredibly close.
It really is anyone's game at this point, and that's what makes it so interesting.
For sure.
We're seeing the momentum shift, these strategies unfold. It's like watching it all happen live.
Definitely unpredictable.
And we have no idea how it's going to end. It's like a big game of chess, both sides trying to outmaneuver each other.
Yeah. So what do you think that shift from North Carolina to Virginia tells us about Harris's strategy?
Well, it could mean they're feeling pretty good about other states, maybe places they thought they'd have trouble. Or it could be that they're really worried about losing Virginia.
Oh.
It's like playing offense and defense at the same time.
Trying to protect their wins and also look for opportunities.
Right. Where do you think those targeted polls fit into all of this?
Well, they're really important when it's this close, right?
Absolutely. If you know how different groups are feeling, you can really tailor your message and your resources.
Right.
Like, let's say Latino voters in a certain state are worried about healthcare.
Okay.
Then you can focus your ads and your outreach on healthcare in that area.
Okay, so as a voter myself, I know polls are important.
Yeah.
But they don't tell the whole story. What else should we be paying attention to?
That's a great question. I would say look beyond the headlines.
We'll try to figure out what the narrative is. What issues are they focusing on? What voices are they amplifying? Are they targeting certain groups with specific messages?
So it's not just about what they're saying, but how they're saying it.
Exactly. You got to think critically. Don't just absorb information.
Right.
Engage with it. Ask yourself, what are they assuming? What perspectives are they leaving out?
Sometimes it feels like you need a PhD in political science to understand all this.
I know what you mean. But remember, at the end of the day, an election is about choices.
Yeah.
Your vote is your voice.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be an expert to figure out what matters to you.
Okay, so as we get closer to the election, let's all be informed and engaged voters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our decisions now will shape the world we live in tomorrow.
Well said. That's a great transition to our final thoughts for this deep dive.
All right, hit us with that parting wisdom.
Here's something to think about. Pay attention to the language they're using.
Okay.
Not just the candidates, but the media, your friends, even yourself.
Why is language so important? Because language can shape how we see things and how we make decisions.
Oh.
The words we choose, how we frame issues, the tone we use.
Yeah.
It can all subtly push us in certain directions.
It's like it's a hidden message we need to be aware of.
Exactly. Like, think about how they describe a policy. Is it a tax cut? Or is it revenue reduction? a government program, or a social safety net.
Wow. Yeah. Same thing. Different words.
Right. And they can make you feel very differently.
So be mindful of the language they use. What assumptions are they making? What values are they appealing to?
And think, are there other ways to frame the same issue?
It's like a code we need to crack.
It is. And once you start paying attention, you'll be amazed at what you discover about their agendas and perspectives.
This is useful beyond elections too, right?
Absolutely. It's about being a more self-aware communicator, thinking critically about the messages we receive and the messages we send.
That's a great point. So to wrap up, we've gone from poll numbers to campaign strategies, from emotions to the power of language, a full picture of the pre-election landscape.
And now you, the listener, are better equipped to participate in this election.
Yes.
Remember, your vote is your voice. Don't forget that.
Beautifully said. As we head to the polls, let's ask ourselves, what kind of future do we want?
Yeah.
Let your values guide you and let your voice be heard.
And remember, this isn't over on Election Day. Stay engaged, stay informed, keep shaping the world you want to live in.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time. It's almost like they're trying to manipulate us, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's part of it, right? Persuasion is a part of politics and communication in general.
It's not just about being aware of what they're doing, though, right?
No, you're right.
It's also about being careful with our own language.
Exactly. We can reveal our own biases without even realizing it.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not just about analyzing other people.
No, it's about being more self-aware.
Becoming better communicators ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, this deep dive has been eye-opening. We've covered so much.
We have.
From polls and strategies to emotions and now language.
That's all connected.
Yeah, it's all part of the big picture.
And now you, the listener, you have the knowledge you need to participate in this election.
That's what we want.
Make your voice heard. Your vote matters.
Beautifully said so. So as we head to the polls, let's all ask ourselves, what kind of future do we want?
Good question.
Let our values guide our choices. And let our voices be heard.
And remember, this doesn't end on Election Day.
Right.
Stay engaged. Stay informed.
Yeah.
Keep shaping the world.
Keep pushing for the change we want to see.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Thank you.
See you next time.